Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib. I'm Charlie Hannema, joined by the head coach of the Broken Arrow Tigers, David Alexander. Coach and I are going to look back at a big 14-0 win over the Union Redskins and look ahead to the inaugural Folds of Honor Patriot Bowl driven by Jim Glover Auto Family. Coach, just kind of big picture thoughts, 2-0 after a tough, hard-fought win over Union on the road.
It was a great night, very tough football game. Union's got a great team, but making it tough is what makes it great.
You think about that first half, such a grind,
right?
Back and forth. Offenses didn't have much luck.
No.
It was hot out there. Just what flipped this? What was the message at halftime to lead you guys to break through there?
Yeah, both offenses, right? Both teams. Offenses were out of sync, out of rhythm in the first half. Silly penalties, lined up incorrectly. Both teams making mistakes. But the message at halftime was, I told you this in the team meeting on Monday. I told you in the team meeting today, this game was going to be 0-0 or 14-14 at half, right? And the toughest team will win the second half. And then after the game, I told the kids, hey, just like I told you, you guys are tougher, you played harder and longer, and you won the football game.
What's the mood been like this week with two road games, being able to stay home
right.
and play in front of the jungle, play
right.
here at Broken Arrow in front of the home fans? Can the kids kind of feel that?
Yes, everybody's excited, man. We're finally get home. Two tough road games, man. The long trip, the 5-hour bus ride down to Texas, and then to go over to Tuttle. We haven't played over there. It's been a couple of years. It's been 3 years since we played over there, and we're excited to be in our own locker room, in front of our own fans. The home crowd, being on the home sidelines, wearing our home jerseys. It'll be really fun. And I know we're going to talk about all the other stuff going along with it here in a little bit.
Absolutely. The Folds of Honor Patriot Bowl driven by Jim Glover Auto Family, Broken Arrow and Owasso hooking it up Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff. You'll want to be in your seats early, probably about 6:45. Make sure you catch that national anthem and a pregame flyover from the Tulsa Warbirds. So it's going to be an incredible night to benefit the Folds of Honor Foundation. Tickets are still available. You get them 9 to 5 tomorrow and Thursday at Tiger Threads, just inside the main entrance of Broken Arrow High School, or you can get them at gofan.com. But I would not wait because we're anticipating a capacity crowd and then some. Coach Dunn's probably going to have to fight off the fire marshal to keep letting people in Friday night.
Well, hey, I want as many people there as we can get in. They'll let in the gates, and if that happens, right, and that might be the outlook, like you said, you better get here early and get some tickets and get set down.
Good problem to have, though. Off the state championship last year at a 2-0 start. Everywhere you go
right.
around Broken Arrow, you can tell there's support for this football team.
Yeah, it's fantastic, right? The town was busting the seam waiting for a state championship. We got that. We've started off the season really well. Even though it's non-district games, we've shown some flashes of being a pretty good football team. And so another big test, and we'll get done with the non-district schedule and get ready for our district games.
What are you coaching hardest right now?
Well, that's a really good question. We were worried about, breaking in a new quarterback. That's what we talked about quite a bit, but that has obviously not been an issue at all. Jake Raines has come in and played superbly. What we've been fighting the last few weeks is just nagging little injuries. You've seen some of our, guys that are 2- and 3-year starters out of the lineup. Actually, we're probably more healthy for Owasso this week than we've been for any other game. So we're getting some guys back. So, we've been having to coach a bunch of young guys to get ready to play. But now I think we're going to get even a couple more guys back this week.
Coach A, you mentioned Jake Raines and the stats on him quickly. 13 of 17 in his first 2 games, 340 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Last week against Union, 4 of 7, 178, and a touchdown, a 75-yard touchdown to Isaiah Keller, who will be coming up in our player segment a little bit later. But when you have a guy that's trying to get established,
right.
Hard to ask for much more in his first 2 major games.
Yeah, no, the plan back in July, right? We're going to take this guy. We're going to take it easy. We're going to let him, kind of grow into his system. But every time we've needed a big play, he's been spot on with the football. The only bad throw he's made was maybe the first one of the season, and he made a couple of throws that were incomplete last week that were great throws. And, one to our tight end who's, he's really a blocking guy, but it was a fantastic throw. Young man just didn't come up with it. But, we can't ask for any more from him. We're going to start now as we get into the district, and maybe a little bit in this game, we're going to start letting him have a little bit more of the offense and use a little bit more of his arm. And as we do that, right, and as we become a little bit more balanced as we get into the district, it might be scary what he does.
You said last week that the state championship was not on the line Friday night against Union. but going over there and shutting them out at their place for the first time since 1988, Broken Arrow's first win since 1986 over there. I know that doesn't mean a whole lot to you because every team is different, but for a lot of people in Broken Arrow, that kind of was exercising the demons a little bit, wasn't it?
Well, it sounds like you were standing there in my post-game speech to the team. That's what I told them. I said, this game, that was not the state championship. But that game Friday night did mean a lot to a lot of people. Alumni, the town. It's just been a long road to try to get over that hill against Union, and having finally a little bit of success. I don't know if I would call 2 games in a row a streak or not. Usually that's for 3 or 4 or 5, because we will have to play Union again. That has to be our mindset. But every little hill we climb, every step we take as a football team and as a town, as a program, just adds credence to what we're doing, and it gives our players confidence.
We'll take a timeout here on Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib. Still getting started, though. Coach Alexander and I will break down that Union win a little bit more in depth when we come back. Then a little bit later, we'll check in with senior wide receiver Isaiah Keller. This is Broken Arrow Football.
My name is Abigail Bailey. I was at my yearly checkup when I was 12, and we went and got x-rays, and she diagnosed me with scoliosis and that we needed surgery as soon as possible.
Tulsa Bone and Joint was very compassionate. They took their time with us. They answered questions. He was very encouraging.
Dr. Clark helped me see that there is life after spinal fusion. Just because your spine is fused doesn't mean that you can't do what you love to do.
Can you hear it? It's the sound of hope and health and strength. It's the sound of compassion, of open doors, where people and machines are in tune and miracles occur. It's the sound of personalized healthcare and active communities. It sounds like life, and it's what you hear when you really listen.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib. Charlie Hannema and Coach Alexander back with you tonight as we look back at a 14-0 win over Union. And, Coach, the thing that stands out, obviously, the shutout defensively.
Right.
Holding Union to 1 of 10 on third downs, held them on 2 fourth-down conversions. But the thing that got me when I really dove into the official Skip Hyde statistics, average third down distance, they tracked that. It was 3rd and 10.3 was their average third down. So when you can keep them behind the chains on first and second down, it does make it easier to go 1 for 10 on third down when they've got 10 yards to go every time.
Yeah, and that's the credit to obviously the whole defense, but our philosophy of not letting anybody run the football on us. If you can't run the football and it's 2nd and 10, right, and then you're going to try either something unusual, something out of your playbook, you get an incompletion, then it's 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. It's bad news for your offense.
Struggled a little bit offensively in the first half. What do you attribute that to now that you've had a chance to kind of break down the film a little bit?
Man, Charlie, I have chewed on that and thought about that, because we were so efficient down in Mansfield, no penalties, until the fourth quarter, and took care of the football, lined up correctly almost every snap, and I think I'm just going to attribute to, hey, we're in Tuttle, and we hadn't been over there. You come out of that locker room and, the teepee's up down there and both bands are playing, and it was an incredible environment for a Friday night high school football game. But it just took us a little bit to kind of get our sea legs under us and realize, no matter what the crowd's doing, there's a football game to be played.
Yeah, 8 penalties for 66 yards for Broken Arrow last week, 9 for 45 for Union. Obviously, you'll want to get those cleaned up. But what was interesting, too, is most of those were not judgment calls. They weren't holds or pass interference. A lot of them were pre-snap kind of stuff. And can that snowball at times? Is that something where you get out of rhythm and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of them as opposed to just one-offs? Yeah, you get it out of rhythm, right? Becomes a little bit more pressure because now it's 3rd and 12 instead of 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7. Everything, you feel like as an offense you're not doing anything right. You come to the sidelines. The coaches are, all uptight and trying to figure out we're going to get a first down. And so it just kind of snowballs, right? And it takes that halftime sometimes just to reboot, right? Realize that you're doing fine, you're going to be okay, and we're just going to go out there and do what Broken Arrow Tigers do and make plays and win a football game. That first drive of the second half, you come out and you fire right to Isaiah Keller for a 75-yard touchdown strike just on the second play of the half. What did you see there?
Well, it's obviously a play we've had in the playbook for a while. We've been working on, and we're a run-first football team, and everybody knows it. And they're all a little bit nervous, and Union was too, right? Their safety standing at about 9 yards, right up, head over the football, and if he just stays flat-footed for a half a second, Isaiah Keller's going to be behind him, and then it's just over. Once Isaiah catches the football, no one's going to catch him.
And then that second drive, you force a 3 and out, and then you get the ball back, and a longer drive that Jalen Johnson punches into the end zone. How important was it for your club to be able to answer not just that one touchdown, but to get that second one so quickly?
Well, it was important for us to put a drive together really with no penalties, just be sharp and just do things the right way. Obviously the touchdown is always the goal. There's a big catch in there by Torrey Dillard, and then Jalen with the finish off, he gets the score. You get tackled inside the 5-yard line. We've got a rule. You get tackled inside the 5-yard line, you don't get the score. You got to come out of the ball game. So that's the first time Torrey experienced that. He was a little surprised. And I'm like, hey, it's all right. You'll get the next touchdown. But you run the football there inside the 3 or 4 yard line with our big offensive line, you're probably going to score.
That was big for momentum. Obviously, Jalen Johnson puts the Tigers up 14-0. You go back to the defense, just 104 total yards allowed, 78 on the ground, 26 through the air. Held them on those 2 4th downs. Kind of got some help from Union on a big drop on one.
Right.
But to be able to contain Union at home in the red zone twice where they walk away with no points, I mean, they were moving the ball later in that second half, and they had some chances, and you guys held tough.
Yeah, they actually got some rhythm, like we did. It took them a little while, and they actually got some offensive rhythm, put a nice drive together. We had a big third down play, and then, hey, anytime the defense is going to go or an offense is going to go for it on 4th down, there's a little bit more pressure. We, as a defensive staff, we kind of know, okay, if in a pressure situation, right, just like Broken Arrow Tigers, in a pressure situation, we're going to go to 2 or 3 plays. Union is going to go to these 2 or 3 plays when it's a really big moment, and we took a little bit of a gamble and we won.
Union's quarterback, J.D. Geneva, had a huge game in week 0, game 1 for the casual observer. 5 touchdown passes down there against Lake Ridge, and you guys hold them to 6 of 16, 26 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and almost a third too that was dropped right on the sideline. But your defense was incredible. They were in his head all night. It
was an incredible effort, and I have given Miles Slesher a hard time all week about using his thumbs to catch that. If Miles catches that interception, he's going to go a long ways and probably score with it. Turnovers, right? If you lead that +2 every week, you're going to win, and that's exactly the way it worked out. I don't think the quarterback from Union had ever seen a pass rush like we were able to put on him. Jalen Moss was absolutely a monster in that football game. Constant pressure on the quarterback and making tackles in the run game from sidelines to sideline.
Absolutely. That puts a 14-0 win over Union to bed. When we come back, we'll chat with senior wideout Isaiah Keller, and then we'll look ahead to the Folds of Honor Patriot Bowl driven by Jim Glover Auto Family. This is Broken Arrow Football from Rip Crib.
With kids, life is one big adventure. That's why you need a strong financial partner you can count on, like TTCU Federal Credit Union. Right now, you could get $150 when you open a new TTCU checking account. And every time you use your School Pride debit card, TTCU donates to schools. What better way to make a difference? Checking account? Why not call it your living account? TTCU Federal Credit Union. Life is better in balance.
Matthews Ford in Broken Arrow is known for offering nice deals on a great selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs, but we don't stop there. Matthews Ford helps to keep your vehicle running right in the quick lane. Tires, brakes, batteries, oil service, you name it, the factory-trained experts at Quick Lane can handle it, and on your schedule. Give it a try. You'll see why life is better in the quick lane. Log on to MatthewsFordBA.com for a no-hassle, informative, convenient, easy way to shop, which is a nice deal. Matthews Ford.
In the folded flag, we see the heavy price of freedom. Nearly 9 out of 10 dependents of America's fallen and disabled soldiers do not qualify for federal scholarship assistance. The Folds of Honor closes that gap. Join us in this noble mission. Donate today at foldsofhonor.org. This is your call to duty.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib. Charlie Hannema, Coach David Alexander, and senior wideout Isaiah Keller with you tonight. Isaiah, big game last week against Union. Obviously, that 75-yard touchdown catch, 3 catches total, 148 yards. Just big picture, what did that win mean for your guys?
It meaning a lot. Like, coming back from Mansfield was definitely hard, and coming back at like 4 o'clock in the morning. But we already started adversity, but we came back and worked hard during the week. We watched film. We just went over everything and came back victorious. So,
take me through that touchdown catch. Start right at the beginning when you had lined up for that play. Did you see something? Did you know there was potential for a big one?
Yeah. Actually, before we went out there, I was just saying I don't care how we score because the defense is just going to hold up just the way they've been playing all the first half. Well, the second play, they called for me to make that touchdown, basically, and so I saw the linebacker scoot in, and then there was no safety on top, and then he moved to the middle, and then all I saw was just green grass, and I just ran right past him.
Yeah, from upstairs in the booth, it looked like you only had to make one little move, and you were behind him and gone. Is that what you saw? Is that what happened down the field?
Yeah, that's what happened. Jake threw a great ball on the line, gave him enough time just to throw it. So,
Coach, now take me inside the headsets a little bit, because I know on some of those plays, you've got it dialed up to where if you see this matchup, you know, I'm sure Coach Wilkinson probably
That's exactly right.
Screaming and jumping and hollering upstairs, this is going to work, this is going to work.
Right. Well, he's actually what he's screaming in the headset is for the safety to bite. He says, safety, just bite on the run, bite on the run, bite on the run, right? Because it's a hard play fake, you know, one of our favorite plays. And he didn't step up, but he just stayed flat-footed. And by the time he saw Isaiah was already even with him, running full speed, and he's facing the offense, and it was there was no way he was going to catch Isaiah.
Isaiah, tell me a little bit about stepping up into a senior leadership role on this football team, knowing that you know, you had some experience, a ton of experience last year, and now being one of the guys to lead this offense. Just tell me about that transition a little bit to being a senior.
I mean, it was a cool little transition. I definitely push the young guys and try to push them to be the best that they can be. Like, even off the field, like, if I see something, I always try to, you know, like, hey, don't do dumb stuff, you know. So,
right.
Yeah.
Can you put and this might be hard to put into words, but the personality of this year's team compared to last year's team, every team's just a little bit different. So compare them for me if you can.
Defense, they still talk like they usually do. Offense, we're very humble. We're poised. We don't really like show out like that, but except Tory Dillard. Tory Dillard talks a lot, but other than that, we're very humbled. So.
I love it. What part of your game are you focusing on trying to improve the most as you continue, you know, with 8 games left in the regular season, then 3 in the playoffs?
Definitely being more aggressive on run plays.
Coach, your receivers downfield blocking's kind of been the MO from them in Broken Arrow.
It has been. You know, if you don't block, you don't get to play, right? Because we're gonna run the ball 60%. I mean, it's been a little bit more than that the first couple of weeks, but we're gonna run it 55-60% of the time, right? So you have to block, and you know, you saw how it's paid off for us since I've been here. It's always paid off in the run game when those guys get those blocks downfield. You know, Isaiah really doesn't need to work on his aggressiveness in the run game. He's done a fantastic job. He just needs to just keep doing what he's doing. He's gonna have a huge season.
Real quick, just where is Isaiah strongest, Coach?
Well, I don't know if I can name one thing. He is a fantastic leader. He does things right in the classroom, in the community, at practice. He works as hard as anybody we've ever had. You know, because he's diligent about his craft. He wants to be good at what he does. He doesn't want to go out and practice and be sloppy. He makes sure he catches the footballs. He makes sure he runs to the end zone on catches. And he does. He does a fantastic job going around patting the young kids on the helmet. And he's a humble leader, which you don't see very often, right? You usually see the leaders, you know, and you don't want to call anybody out, but, you know, we were pretty brash last year, that leadership group. Now, they did a fantastic job, right, with the results they had, but, you know, you don't hear Isaiah run up and down the sideline screaming at people, right? But you see Isaiah walking along, patting them on the back, right, telling them what they did right, telling them what they did wrong.
Love it. Isaiah Keller, thanks for being here. Good luck Friday night against Tawasso. I know it's going to be a big one.
Appreciate it.
That's Isaiah Keller, senior wide receiver for the Broken Arrow Tigers. He's getting $25 to Rib Crib for appearing on the show. Final timeout, then Coach Alexander and I will be back to set the stage for the Folds of Honor Patriot Bowl driven by Jim Glover Auto Family. This is Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib. Final segment of Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib as we count down to the Folds of Honor Patriot Bowl driven by Jim Glover Auto Family. Broken Arrow and Owasso, number 1 Tigers, number 2 Rams, Friday night at 7 o'clock at the Woodshed. Tickets still available. You can get them at Tiger Threads Wednesday and Thursday from 9 to 5 or online at gofan.com. You're going to want to be at your seats about 6:45 or earlier. Expecting a big crowd. We've got a lot of things planned during the national anthem, including a flyover from the Tulsa Warbirds. You can also go to foh.org/Patriot Bowl, foh.org/Patriot Bowl. You can support the Folds of Honor Foundation, which gives scholarships to children and families of our killed and disabled heroes, and you'll have a chance to compete to win a 2020 Jeep Gladiator on the field during Friday night's game. Coach, we think back to Owasso, 2-0, the Rams coming off wins over kind of the Arkansas tour, 47-34 against Bentonville West. That was a wild one. A couple comebacks, lead
both
changes
ways,
in that one. And then Fayetteville at home last week for the Rams, a 51-19 win. What have you seen as you prepare for them?
Well, obviously, it goes without saying they're a very, very good football team. They've got, and what makes them very good or scary for us is they're so well balanced between run and pass. They've got 2 guys outside that, are rivals to our 2 guys, Dillard and Keller, and they've got the big running back and Jacobs in the backfield. He's really developed. Last year he looked like an underclassman, and this year he looks like a senior. He's good, really, really good football player. Defensively, the Rams are going to come out and they're going to be multiple, a lot of different coverages, a lot more blitzing than we've seen the last 2 weeks. They'll blitz more than the last 2 weeks combined. Some of it is they're going to take some real shots at blitz and leave some guys uncovered and just trying to get home and create some big plays.
He's talking about Isaiah Jacobs, the running back for the Rams. 39 carries so far this year for 322 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's more than 8 yards per carry. Owasso's quarterback is new this year, Cole Duggar, 31 of 45, 596 yards, 6 touchdowns. Coach Blankenship's teams, they usually get up and down the field, a lot of offense, and every time we watch a Coach Blankenship team play, whether it's at University of Tulsa or Fayetteville or Owasso now, special teams, there's always a wrinkle somewhere. Yeah,
a lot of wrinkles this year. They don't have a kicker, or they haven't shown the first 2 weeks a kicker that can kick in the end zone. So a lot of craziness. A lot of times on kickoff, they've got 2 kickers out there, and they're popping it around and rolling it over here and onside it there. And so if you can't kick in the end zone, why kick it to one of the fast guys? And so if we'll just fall on all those balls, we'll have the ball around the 50-yard line every time, which would be great. But we have to make those plays in the kicking game. Always a fake. You got to be ready for a fake from Coach Blankenship. He was a special teams coordinator at Tulsa. There's always going to be a wrinkle, a fake, something out of them. And so, it'll be a chess match special teams wise.
All right, Coach Alexander, thanks for the scouting report on your buddy, Coach Blankenship. I know you guys have known each other for years.
Long time.
Should be an interesting matchup Friday night. Folds of Honor Patriot Bowl driven by Jim Glover Auto Family. Real quick, foh.org/Patriot Bowl. Support the Folds of Honor. Get a chance to win that Jeep Gladiator. For Coach David Alexander, I'm Charlie Hannema saying good night from Broken Arrow.
This ArrowVision broadcast is copyrighted by Broken Arrow Public Schools for the private use of our audience. This broadcast may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the expressed written consent of Broken Arrow Public Schools.